Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, all of you beautiful souls. I just got done working out at the gym. So I apologize if I don't have my normal or usual dress shirt on. Got all the tattoos or art pieces of art coming out. This is the theme of this tattoo is time perception. They're little gears or clock gears inside of the eyes. And there's some more gears right here. Then there's a clock right here. All kinds of numbers and the moths flying around. And this says eternal, because souls don't ever die. And this is a tiger with 3 eyes. And I'm going to get this completed with a snake down here, some peacock feathers, and all kinds of cool things. Now anyways, I wanted to do a video today because I remember when I first started listening to Subliminals 2 or 3 years ago, I had the curiosity, I wonder what this subliminal creator is listening to. I wonder what subliminals they listen to and why are they making subliminals? Why are subliminals significant to them? And this is going to be a very personal video. And I know some of you are like, well, why are you going to share your personal information with us? Seiluke, that's a little strange. Well, I don't think it's strange. I truly believe, we're all family here. We're all best friends. We're all brothers and sisters. Can I call you brother? Can I call you sister? And I really, my entire life, have been a very personal person. Now, not in a strained or awkward way, like I said. In a very genuine and sincere way, I've always been attracted to people on a personal level. Just diving deep right away in our first conversation, right? And, I started listening to Subliminals 3.5, 4 years ago. And I had always, like many of you, understood the psychology behind affirmations, but when I discovered Subliminals, that's when my life, really started to change. And, that old version of myself, or, a much younger soul, Luke, was listening to mostly success subliminals at first, right? And he had tried a couple of physical subliminals like many of you, and they didn't work, but the success and self-improvement ones were working. And the number one subliminal that I listened to, that really at the time, changed this person that was just restarting their lives, literally with $0 in their pocket and just a suitcase filled, with items. That's all he had. Luke at the time had just restarted his life, rock bottom. I mean, literally, he was sleeping on a rock or the floor in the ghettos of a country when he had just restarted his life. Now, one thing though that really got him moving forward, and I really recommend a lot of you, it doesn't matter where you're at in your life, was a believe in yourself subliminal. It wasn't, praying to a God. I'm not denying there's not a creator. Only a fool would deny that there is an original creator, and that's a whole other debate, and I don't want to, start attacking people's personal beliefs. But it was, this very powerful self-belief. And my camera guy, Paul, who has a very similar story where, he came from New York after, really recovering, from drug addiction and other things. Well, not drug addiction, Sorry, Paul, I'm not calling you an ex-drug recovery. There's no shame in that. But he overcame a lot of diversity, and he came to Arizona, and he has tattooed on himself, believe in yourself, tattooed on his body. Now, I have in Japanese kanji on my ankle, believe. And, it's for about a year or two that, these self-improvement subliminals really pushed me to the next level. And I remember there was one point where I was marketing or online advertising for the very best stem cell doctors in the country, or the United States, that were getting ready to, head to Asia and start branching out over there. And then at that point, was when the lockdown started. Or right after that, I started actually this whole Seiluke brand. And, our motto was helping people overcome depression and suicidal tendencies, all of that stuff. And then I got to a point where I realized, I could only be a lighthouse. I could not be a moving lighthouse that was, going out and moving and trying to force people to change. There was a very come to Jesus moment that I had, and realized I could only be the lighthouse, and people could only come to me for help if they really wanted to change, and I didn't want to burn myself out. Right? It's a very powerful lesson that a lot of us have to accept and understand. That early on in life, and some 30, 40, 50-year-olds still don't understand that. They still want to try very creepy force their kids or their children to be whatever they want them to be, not what their children want to be or who their children are going to become. And it was these self-improvement subliminals, and then the whole Seiluke brand started, and then the lockdown came, the whole pandemic or whatever you want to call it. I prefer the word lockdown because of my own personal beliefs, right? The whole lockdown came, and it was when I was inside, I would wake up literally every single morning and go ride my bicycle for about 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, some days an hour, out in the Arizona desert heat. And then I'd go back to the house I was staying at the time. It was not my house. I have no shame in saying that. It was not my house, but I went back to the house I was staying at. I was still paying rent, still paying my bills, right, blah, blah, blah. And I went back to the house, and I would literally, for 5 or 6, 7 hours straight, just straight, no breaks, no lunch break, I would eat a lunch maybe in 5 minutes. And sometimes I would be eating my lunch while I was making my subliminal. Or also at the time I was writing my first book. It was a fantasy book. It was not, facts or educational like my other book. It was my first medieval book like Lord of the Rings. And that's what I did for 10 hours. That's what I did for 10 hours during the lockdown. And the first 2-3 months passed by. And then, I had an opportunity financially to go shoot the Bridging Cultures documentary. Now, at this point was when I stopped listening to I only was listening to my own subliminals. I would say about 100 and something in. And if it wasn't for the lockdown, would have I made subliminals? I don't know. But, because I don't know. But I'm very grateful that, what some may call a bad thing, you can turn any bad thing into a good thing. It's all about your perception. It's all about your mindset or your paradigms. And I had listened to enough, self-improvement subliminals that I used the lockdown as a good thing. I started making my own subliminals, and I pushed myself with just the mindset, right? This mindset that I preach in all my videos, to write real goals that ask you to become a completely new version of yourself. And I practice what I preach. I meet people that I haven't seen in just a year. People way back in high school, and they just stare at me literally. I'm not changing their words or their reaction. Oh my God. Is that Luke? Is that Luke? Oh my God. Literally. So I practiced what I preach, and I took this, writing real goals philosophy or mindset, and I made, every subliminal I made, I wanted to improve. You can look at some of the first 100 subliminals we made. We still got a lot of amazing results, but and you compare them to, the last, 10 or 20 that I released, there's a big difference, very, very big difference. And my mindset, even though it was tested, in the beginning. And there were some lessons to be learned in the beginning, is I do not buy to this day, I do not buy any fake subscribers. I do not buy any fake likes, and no fake comments. This is 100% genuine. And I will keep it that way forever, because I know in 5 or 10 years, when, I'm not going to say names, but all of these, fake subliminal, teenagers living in their mom and daddy's house that just want to be the next Kim Kardashian, I know in 1 or 2 years they're going to be gone. They're going to be exposed. Like, I almost said a name, but some of these other fake self-help channels. So I know that in 1 or 2 years, when all the dead bodies of the fake, or pretend subliminal creators, are going to be gone, that we're going to be growing. And we're going to be growing bigger and bigger and bigger every year. It's called wisdom. wisdom, right? Knowledge is great and awareness is great, and your current level of results is a reflection of your awareness with some creativity and intellect. But this is my own personal story. And I only listen to our own subliminals. And I'm going to post today on our YouTube channel how I had severe chronic pain around my wisdom tooth because there was a flap of gum that food had got stuck inside. And I literally could not even open my mouth all the way when I wanted to eat. I was like, trying, like a little baby trying to eat. And I was just in pain. I was sleeping bad. I was on my butt for 4 days straight. Literally on my butt. I only went to Walmart maybe once or twice. That was it. And I finally went to the dentist, a friend of mine, Valeria, and I'm not criticizing her. She's a friend of mine. She actually cleaned my mouth and did cleaned all of the food out and, wrote me a prescription, everything for free. She's a very good friend of mine. And anyways, even though after I was taking the painkillers and she cleaned my mouth and I was using a special mouthwash, the pain eventually went away after 3 or 4 days where, I was, no longer having to take painkillers to sleep. But I still couldn't chew with that, area of my mouth or the wisdom tooth. There was no way. And the pain would still come back throughout the day. And this was happening for the last, couple of days. And a week had already passed. Like, I would say about a week, 6 or 7 days since I saw Valeria. And I was like, shoot. I don't have to take painkillers anymore, but I'm still dealing with some random, bouts of pain. And I still can't chew with all of my mouth. So I made a subliminal for myself that I released obviously to the public for, all of you, to cure the acute, I don't even know how to say it. I just did all the research for, a couple hours on, where's the, problem coming from and how the problem's starting. And just like, with my entrepreneurial mindset or, my mindset, look for the solution, look for the answer, right? And I invite all of you to focus on the solution to your problems in life. Don't sit around crying about them like a little toddler, right? It's you need to, every second you spend focusing on the problem is a second you could have spent focusing on the solution. Be a leader. Be a leader and lead, and by visualizing and focusing on the solutions in your workplace, your relationships, for your children, for your families. Preach and be passionate about the solutions that are going to solve the problem instead of crying about them. So, I focused on the solution, and I created the subliminal to cure the acute, I don't know how to say it, okay? I don't want to even try. Acute, nah. But the point is, anyways, I listened to the subliminal for it's been 3 days now. And today I was able to eat a steak with mashed potatoes, all of my mouth. 100%. This part, that was where the problem started, all of it. No more pain, nothing. 3 days. And you know what Valeria told me, and I'm not criticizing her. She told me that you're going to need to have your wisdom teeth removed and you're going to need surgery. Because the problem's not going to ever go away. It's just going to be a little temporary, it's going to feel better for maybe a couple days or a week, and then the problem's going to come back. Just like the internet said. Well, guess what? Subliminals and the power of your subconscious mind, or our subconscious mind, worked. And trust me, the past is not pretty for Luke. It is not pretty. But to have grown and overcome so much diversity, so many rock bottoms, so many dependencies, and I owe it all to subliminals. I love all of you. Don't ever underestimate what you can do with the power of your subconscious mind and a little bit of love, a little bit of heart.